There are stories you hear that sound too terrifying to be true. My friends and I thought those were just that, stories. My name is Casey, and what you're about to hear is real. This was supposed to be our big break, capturing hard evidence of a skinwalker on camera. But we found more than we ever wanted, and now, only a few of us are left to tell the tale. It started in the fall of 2022. The leaves were turning blood red in northern Arizona, and the nights were growing colder. My friends and I ran a small but growing YouTube channel called Beyond the Veil. We explored paranormal sites, hunted ghosts, and even staged a few scares. But we wanted more, something real, something viral. And then Dylan brought up the Skinwalkers. We were sitting in the basement of my apartment, watching reruns of old paranormal shows when Dylan, always the instigator, paused the screen. Dude, Skinwalkers, that's the next level. People don't even like to say the word out loud. That's how deep it goes. Noah leaned forward, curious. Aren't those Navajo legends? Witch doctors that can turn into animals? Not just animals, Dylan said, lowering his voice. They wear the skins of people too, and they can mimic voices perfectly. Celia, the skeptic of our group, rolled her eyes. You really think we're gonna drive out to a native reservation and catch one on camera? That's not just dangerous, it's disrespectful. Unless we get permission, I said slowly. There's a place I read about, off-the-grid tribal land. They say things still happen out there. We could go, document it, just observe. No trespassing. We all looked at each other. That familiar rush was building again, that this could be it feeling, a viral hit, millions of views, the kind of thing that would make people remember us. So we started planning. 3 weeks later, we found ourselves in northeastern Arizona, deep in Navajo Nation territory. We had spoken to a local guide through a distant cousin of mine, an older man named Thomas Yazzie. He agreed to meet us at a gas station just outside the tribal boundary. Thomas was lean, weathered, and silent. His eyes never stopped scanning the horizon. This land isn't for you, he said simply. Not at night. We promised we wouldn't stay long, just enough to set up cameras, do a few interviews, and maybe camp one night. Thomas shook his head. One night is enough to change you. We followed his old pickup truck down a series of unmarked dirt roads until we reached a vast, open valley surrounded by jagged cliffs. The air felt heavier here, like something was watching us before we even stepped out of the van. There was no signal, no other people, just a small shack Thomas used when he came to bless the land. Don't call them, don't mock them, and if you hear someone you know calling your name in the dark, don't answer. That was all he said before leaving us. We should have listened. We set up camp before dusk. 3 tents, 2 motion detection cameras, a night vision drone, and a few GoPros mounted to nearby trees. Celia started documenting everything for our video. She always had the best narration voice. Day 1. No signs of anything yet, but the land definitely has a vibe. Spooky, isolated, and way too quiet. We're hoping to capture something, anything, before we head back tomorrow. By nightfall, the desert had grown bone cold. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was suffocating. Not even crickets chirped. At 1:03 a.m. we heard the first sound. It was faint, like a whisper carried on the wind. Casey, I sat up in my sleeping bag, thought I was dreaming. Then I heard it again, clearer this time. Casey, help, it's Dylan. I'm hurt, but Dylan was asleep in the tent across from mine. I could see the silhouette of his body through the nylon wall. I didn't move, didn't answer, just held my breath. The whisper circled the tent, slow, deliberate, mimicking my best friend's voice with terrifying precision. Then, silence. The next morning, Dylan looked rough, pale, eyes bloodshot. He told us he had gotten up to pee in the night and saw something at the edge of the trees. It was, I don't know, looked like a coyote, but tall, standing, like a person in fur. Its face was all wrong. We checked the motion sensor cameras, nothing, but one GoPro mounted to a nearby tree was missing. Snapped clean off, strap shredded like someone had torn it apart with claws. Celia didn't want to stay another night, but the footage, the voice mimic, Dylan's sighting, this was what we came for. We made a decision that would haunt us forever. We stayed. That night, we built a fire and tried to keep spirits high, but the woods around us felt alive. Every crack of a twig sent us into a panic. At 2:12 a.m., the howling started. Not wolves, not coyotes. This was human. It started far away, then closer, then all around us, impossibly fast, like something running circles at inhuman speeds. We grabbed flashlights and cameras, but the lights only seemed to make things worse. Suddenly, Celia screamed. Her flashlight had caught something, just for a second, standing upside down on a tree trunk, clinging like a spider. Its eyes reflected red. It dropped silently to the ground and disappeared into the brush. We didn't sleep that night. When we woke up that second morning, it felt like the world had changed, like the air itself knew we didn't belong there anymore. One of our cameras was gone. Dylan wasn't acting like himself. And Celia found something burned into her skin that she couldn't explain. Morning light crept over the cliffs, casting jagged shadows across the valley. We looked like hell. Faces pale, eyes bloodshot, hands shaking. Celia refused to speak. She kept glancing at the tree line like something might charge out at any second. Noah flew the drone to scan the area from above, trying to spot the thing she saw the night before. But the footage came back empty, just brush, trees, and shadows that seemed to twist when you weren't looking. I walked to the tree where Celia said she saw it, the one with the upside-down shape. At the base, I found something carved into the bark, a handprint, elongated fingers, claws instead of nails. It wasn't made with a knife. It was burned into the wood. We were packing up when Celia suddenly cried out and dropped her backpack. She pulled up her sleeve to reveal a hand-shaped mark on her forearm, exactly like the one on the tree. It wasn't a bruise. It looked like a burn, red, raw, and blistered. "I didn't touch anything," she whispered. "I swear to God, I didn't touch anything." We surrounded her, trying to calm her down, but that's when Noah pointed something out. It's not a handprint. Not really. It has claws, just like the one on the tree." Celia didn't sleep the night before. None of us did. But her behavior started to shift. She stared off into the distance for long periods, and once we caught her talking to herself near the woods. "It's not her," Dylan muttered. "It's like she's empty." Despite everything, we stayed. Maybe it was fear, maybe it was obsession, but we had come here for proof, and now we had it. Burns, sightings, voices in the dark, but nothing felt right. Our footage kept getting corrupted. Batteries drained faster than they should. Our backup hard drives were dead. While scouting around midday, I stumbled across a foundation half buried in dirt and roots. It looked like the remains of a small stone dwelling, ancient, crumbling, mostly swallowed by nature, but in the center was a slab, blackened by fire. On the stone were symbols, strange spirals and stick-like figures scratched deep into the surface. I took a photo. The camera froze, screen turned black. When I turned it back on, the photo was gone, but in its place was a new image, a blurry figure in the trees behind me. Something I hadn't seen. That night, the whispering returned, but this time, it wasn't just my name. "Noah, help me, Celia, come here." Voices that sounded like us, sometimes our own voices, mimicking things we never said. Celia stood up at one point and walked out of her tent. I chased after her with my flashlight, calling her name. I found her standing in front of the burned slab. She turned to me, slowly. "It knows you now," she said. "It's hungry." Then she collapsed. We carried her back to camp and zipped her tent closed, but none of us slept. Dylan started drawing in his notebook, wild scribbles, circles, and stick figures with animal heads. When I asked what it was, he looked up at me with hollow eyes. It showed me. The next morning, we packed everything. No arguments, no cameras, no last interviews. We were done. But before we left, I checked one last thing, the GPS log on the drone. It had captured a path in the valley, a spiral, hundreds of feet wide, only visible from the air. At the center was the stone slab. At the edge, our tents. We had pitched camp inside a summoning pattern. We drove for hours in silence. No music, no talking, just the sound of the tires on gravel and the occasional static on the radio, even though it wasn't on. Celia started humming in the back seat, a song none of us recognized, the same 4 notes over and over. When we finally hit paved road, we thought we were safe. We weren't. We thought we left it behind. We thought once we crossed, back into town, back into civilization, it would let us go. But something followed us from that place, something ancient, patient, and hungry. This is where things got worse than any of us could have imagined. We got back to Flagstaff late the next evening. The drive had been long and eerily quiet, and no one wanted to talk about what we saw. We didn't even unload the gear, just scattered to our apartments and agreed to check in the next day. That night, I tried to sleep, but something kept scratching at my window. I live on the 3rd floor. I told myself it was tree branches, except there are no trees close enough to reach. I put in earbuds, played white noise, and tried to ignore the sound of something gently tapping the glass every few seconds. Tap, tap, tap. By morning, the glass had 5 distinct claw marks across it. Celia didn't answer her phone the next morning. Not texts, not calls. Noah and I drove to her place. We found her front door open. Inside, the apartment looked untouched, clean, normal, but the hallway light was flickering. I called her name. She stepped out of the bedroom, slowly, head tilted slightly like she didn't recognize us. Her eyes were wrong. "Have you seen the stars lately?" she asked, voice flat. Noah tried to laugh it off. "Okay, funny, you had us worried. Come on, let's sit down." "They watch us too," she said, "and when they blink, something comes through." She walked back into her room and shut the door. I tried the knob. Locked. On the floor by the door, scratched into the hardwood, were more symbols, spirals, stick figures, animals with twisted faces. Back at my place, I finally checked the footage from the drone's final flight. It was corrupted, again, but something about the file structure caught my eye. There were frames missing, yes, but also added. Still shots spliced in between normal video, black and white, grainy, like trail cam photos. Each showed us standing around the stone slab at night, but we never did that. The last photo showed me standing alone, eyes completely black, with the trees bending inward like they were leaning closer to listen. The metadata said the photo was taken 24 minutes after we had already left the site. Dylan finally called me around midnight. I hadn't heard from him in 2 days. He sounded frantic, paranoid. "It's in the walls, bro," he whispered. "It talks through the vents now. It says it knows my name." I told him to calm down, that I was coming over. He stopped me. Don't come here. It doesn't want you. Not yet." Then he hung up. I saved the voicemail. Later that night, I played it back, wanted to show the others. But the file had changed. Dylan's voice was gone. Instead, it was mine. Don't come here. It doesn't want you. Not yet." Exactly the same words, same tone, but it was me speaking. I never said those words. Noah started complaining about the mirrors. He said when he looked into them, his reflection would lag behind his movements, just for a second. Then one night it didn't lag, it smiled. Even though he didn't, he smashed all the mirrors in his apartment, covered everything reflective, even turned off his phone screen. But that wasn't enough. One night he called sobbing. "It's not in the mirror anymore, it's in me." The next day Noah was gone. His apartment was untouched, no sign of struggle. Just the sound of static coming from every speaker in the place, and on the bathroom mirror, written in condensation, "Let me in, but no water had been run." I knew what I had to do. They always say you shouldn't go back, that the veil only thins once, and if you poke it again, something might come through completely. But I couldn't let it end like this. Not with Celia slipping into silence, not with Noah missing, not with Dylan hearing voices through the walls. I packed a single bag, camera, flashlight, knife. I drove back to the hollow. This time there were no birds, no wind, no sound at all, just dead silence. When I reached the old foundation, the slab was gone. In its place was a hole, deep, black, breathing. It exhaled once, as if it knew me, and I heard it, clear as day. My voice, but wrong. "Welcome back, Casey." I went back to find answers, but the hollow didn't care about answers. It wanted something else, something older, something buried. The hole where the stone once lay wasn't just a passage, it was an invitation, and I was stupid enough to accept it. I stood at the edge of the pit for what felt like an hour, flashlight gripped tight, every instinct screaming at me to run. But I didn't. Not because I was brave, because I couldn't move. The darkness at the bottom wasn't just dark, it was alive. It shifted and breathed, and something about it reached up into my chest and held my heart still. Then I heard her voice. "Casey." Celia. But it came from the bottom of the pit. I took one step down, then another, and then I fell. I woke in pitch black. The air was thick and wet, like I'd fallen into the lungs of something enormous. I turned on my flashlight. I wasn't in a cave. I was in a chamber, carved with the same spirals and markings we saw in the woods, but these were bigger, more detailed. They told a story, one I wish I never read. It showed people turning into animals, shedding skin like clothes, but the final image was different. It showed a circle of humans standing around a pit, offering a sacrifice. In the center, a creature, all limbs and teeth, wearing a man's face. I heard footsteps behind me, but when I turned around, no one was there, only a shadow that didn't belong to me. The deeper I went, the warmer it got. At the bottom of a narrow corridor, I found torches, still lit, and beyond that, a room full of bones, hundreds of them, arranged in spirals, and in the center, a stone altar, soaked in something black and sticky. The moment I stepped into the room, the temperature dropped. Then I heard whispering, voices I recognized. Celia, Dylan, Noah. They weren't speaking words, just sounds, like something trying to remember how to be human. From the dark corner of the chamber, something began to move. I turned, heart pounding, and saw myself, or something wearing my face. Its smile was all teeth. Its eyes were like holes drilled through the world. "Let me show you," it whispered. It lunged. I ran, down a hallway, into another chamber, and found a mirror. But the reflection wasn't me. It was Celia. She was screaming, banging on the other side of the glass, mouthing something I couldn't hear. Then she stopped, Her face went blank, and something pulled her backward into the darkness behind her. I slammed my fist into the mirror. It didn't shatter. Instead, the surface rippled, like water. Behind me, the whispering rose to a chorus. Wear the skin. Give the name. Become. I turned around, flashlight shaking. They were all there. Celia, Dylan, Noah. But not really. They had changed. Their faces moved too much. Their eyes blinked sideways. Their voices echoed. Casey, they said in unison. It's your turn now. They surrounded me, arms open, heads tilted. It's not dying, Dylan said. It's becoming. You'll never be alone, Noah added. We missed you, Celia smiled. Join us. I stepped back. The walls of the hollow pulsed. The earth shuddered. The altar began to bleed. And then I heard another voice. Deep, old, not human. It came from the darkness behind the altar. You came willingly. The offering has begun. I realized then. It never wanted a recording, never wanted exposure. It wanted a story, a myth, a name to live on through. It wanted me to tell it, to become part of it. And I almost did, almost. But I ran. I don't know how I got out. The tunnels shifted behind me. The voices chased me. At one point, I passed another chamber, lined with skins hung like clothes on hooks. One of them looked like mine. But I didn't stop, not even when the walls started to whisper in my voice, not when the floor bled, not when I heard Celia sobbing just behind me. I climbed for hours, maybe days, and when I finally saw moonlight, above, real moonlight, I screamed. I clawed out of the hole like an animal. The night air was cold, sharp, real. The hollow was gone. The pit was sealed. The slab was back, as if I had never been there at all. They say if something ancient marks you, you don't leave with it, you leave as it. I escaped the hollow, but I didn't come back alone, and now I think it's using me to find more. With the world the next few days after escaping the hollow felt like a dream, the kind where everything looks normal, but nothing feels right. Cars drove by too slowly. The wind carried whispers instead of leaves. My own reflection lagged, just like Noah said. I started recording myself, just to be sure. In some of the videos, I'm not blinking. In others, I'm not there at all. The footage glitches when I enter frame. I turn on my laptop one morning to find a file I didn't record. A video. In it, I'm sitting in my chair, smiling directly into the lens. They want stories, the version of me says, and I'm going to give them more. Then the screen cuts to black. A week later, a package shows up at my door. No return address. Inside is a small voice recorder. I press play. It's Dylan's voice, raspy, broken. If you're hearing this, it means I didn't make it. Or maybe I did, just not in the way you remember. The thing in the hollow doesn't just hunt, it grows. Through belief, through fear, through story. It wears us, uses us, sends us back to spread it. I can't tell if I'm still me, or if it's already using my skin to record this. A pause, then a whisper, check your scars. I drop the recorder. I run to the mirror. There's a mark on my chest, just over my heart. A faint burned spiral. She knocked on my door 2 nights later. Celia, but not Celia. Her hair was the same, her eyes were green, her voice was soft, but there was nothing behind her smile. You left too early, she said. We weren't done with. I tried to slam the door, but her hand caught it, and she was strong. I saw it then, just under her skin, something moving. You're going to help us now, she whispered. You already are. Then she vanished, just like that. No sound, no trace. The only thing left behind was a single clump of fur lying on my doormat. Still warm. The final straw, my YouTube channel. I never uploaded anything from that trip, never edited the footage, never touched it, but someone did. 2 days ago, a video went live. At 3:33 a.m. title, we saw Skinwalker. Real footage. Unedited it wasn't edited, but it was arranged, cut together perfectly. Night vision. Voices, the spiral, the screams, the descent, even the part in the hollow I don't remember filming. Me staring into the camera, whispering, more will come. They always do. It has 3.9 million views, thousands of comments, people planning trips to the same region, wanting to go viral, wanting to see what we saw. I try to delete it, but it re-uploads every time, even to accounts I don't control. Chapter 27. The final footage. I wake up one night to find my camera rolling. It's not on a tripod, it's in my hand. I'm outside, in the woods, no idea how I got there. The timestamp says 3:34 a.m. The footage shows me walking, smiling, stopping, then turning the camera to face something in the trees. It's Celia, Dylan, Noah, all standing silently, staring back. They're not breathing. They don't blink. Then the camera turns back to me. I speak, but my lips don't move. Next comes you. Epilogue, the new channel. You're probably wondering why I'm telling you all this, why I'd share this story at all. That's the point. That's how it spreads. You listen, you watch, you wonder if it's real, and something ancient listens too, waiting for you to say the name out loud. Go ahead, try it. Whisper it, Skinwalker. Viewer discretion warning. This story is based on fictional horror inspired by Navajo folklore, real Navajo. People do not speak of skinwalkers casually out of respect for their culture and beliefs. This tale is purely for entertainment and should not be used to mock, explore, or trespass sacred land. Respect the stories, respect the people, respect the silence. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time, unless it finds you first.